10 minutes after 3 p.m. here in Liberia. It's a beautiful, beautiful Monday afternoon. Today is the third day of February 2025. Let me kick off the show by saying Happy New Month to each and every one of you listening to this program, to all those of you watching as well. Wish you all of the best this month of love, this February. So January is done. You know, the long January is done. We're in the month of February, and gradually the year is progressing on. A lot of things happening in the country. To those of you watching us via our various online platforms, love to say a pleasant day to you. This show is being relayed all across Liberia on several community radio stations. We want to say thank you to those outlets as well. My name is Diamond Slanger. This is how I love to welcome you to the very first edition of the Post in the month of February. A lot happening in the country. You know, that's one of the beauties of doing an afternoon show or a late show, something of that sort. You know, you get to have information, analyze the information, call those concerned. Some will answer your calls, some wouldn't answer your calls. But at the end of the day, you know, you have enough time to do your own research and reach out to parties involved. A lot happening in the country, but only a select few we can bring on today to discuss and bring on the others as the days progress on. Well, we love to say congratulations to Lofa County for not just winning the footballing competition, but also winning the basketball competition as well. To Grand Bassa for winning the kickball competition, and to my beloved Grand Jida for finishing as runners up in the footballing category and as well as semi-finalists there in the basketball category and finishing fourth in the kickball category as well. It means that we can work on progress and see how best we can improve. But congratulations to the people of Lofa County. A lot, as I said, happening in Liberia. We'll bring you the newsmakers. We'll also be playing host to Representative James Colette of Bon County District Number 2. He is the chairman on rules, order, and administration there at the House of Representatives. So what you need to do is kindly do share the show. Melvin Colley Jr. is watching us from Banga, Bon County. Prof. Joshua Cummins is watching us from Trenton, there in New Jersey, in the U.S. Billy B. Lloyd is following us from Buchanan City, Grand Bassa County. Jackson Moore Dumoy is watching us from Jacobtown here in Monrovia, Liberia. And the rest of the folks watching us all around the world, do comment. As you comment, we'll read out your comments as well. Well, we begin the show with the National County Sports Meet. Beautiful competition. You see the spirit of patriotism and love for county, stakeholders, high, mid-level, low, ordinary. Everybody gets involved in the National County Sports Meet. But as beautiful as it is, we have had this recurring problem. And why haven't we solved that problem? Every year when you speak to organizers of the National County Sports Meet, they will tell you we have this under control. We've put mechanisms in place to make sure that this particular ugly thing doesn't keep reoccurring. And what am I talking about? The overcrowdedness of the stadium and the sale of tickets more than the capacity. And this thing of free gate. You decide to sell tickets. People purchase their tickets. They go and queue up, having purchased their tickets to get entry or gain entry to the stadium. And then someone announces free gate. Those who don't purchase tickets, they overrun those who've purchased tickets. They gain admission to the stadium, and those who have purchased their tickets are left outside standing. What becomes of their money that they spent? Who refunds them? You have non-ticket holders entering the stadium, and ticket holders are left outside. Why is it the stadium is always overcrowded and you still have people with tickets standing outside? How is it done? What's the capacity of the stadium? How many tickets are printed? And there are several factors that leads up to that. Another is this issue of the big man syndrome. You get one ticket, one VVIP access pass, you carry a driver, you carry a security, you carry two other persons behind you. They're in your vehicle. You reach at the gate. You tell the security guards that, look, they are with me. 5 persons will enter on one person who has got one complimentary ticket or one VVIP access pass or one VIP ticket. Then 5 persons will enter the stadium, leaving out ticket holders. Look at what happened yesterday. We'll be connecting with Sylvester Worry. When are we going to settle this thing once and for all? You have people duplicating tickets, duplicating access passes, and selling them on the side. You will have security officers taking the ticket from spectators' hands, having once they've gained access to the stadium, and go and resell the ticket. Should our people be losing their lives over simple crowd control? Why can't we get it right? Technology has made it so simple that a barcode scanner, the easy thing when you go to the supermarket, when you buy goods from the supermarket and you reach at the counter and the cashier or whoever takes your item and scans it with the barcode scanner, that item information gets in the computer. It tells you the price you pay. That item is canceled off. So if we can invest in safety measures, as beautiful as the county meet is, it will also go to protect our lives when we go to the stadium. This issue of overcrowdedness of the stadium can be solved when people follow simple instructions. When you don't sell ticket on the side, when you get one ticket to enter, you don't carry 7 persons behind you. When you don't take the ticket from the spectator's hand and go and resell it, and then the stadium is crowded, people outside with their tickets in their hands, and then somebody tells them the stadium is already jam-packed, you cannot enter. What is the capacity and how many tickets did you print and did you sell, and how are you selling them? So we thought to speak to the Minister of Youth and Sports today. We've been placing calls to Councillor Jericho Bangalu, but apparently he's indisposed at the moment. But our head of the sports department, Sylvester Worry, has been speaking to members of the Emergency Medical Service, the EMS, and he will bring us up to speed surrounding updates as we got information that a fan tragically lost his or her life due to a stampede yesterday at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex. And good afternoon to you, Sylvester Worry. Again, publicly, let me say congratulations to you and the people of Lofa County. How are you doing?
We're doing good, and let me say thanks to you.
Yeah.
Recognizing Lofa as the new champion of the country.
All right, we hear you. that is done. All right, but this issue of a stampede yesterday at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex, you've been doing your own investigations. What have you unearthed that caused it, and if there were any casualties yesterday?
Well, I mean, yesterday, the match was fantastic, but I mean, the overcrowdedness of SKD to have overshadowed the entire thing at the SKD Sports Complex on yesterday. I mean, some fans who turned out at the SKD fainted in their number, and the medical staff present on ground where we have patients being treated under the stadium in all of open area.
Was there any casualty from the overcrowdedness of the stadium yesterday, Sylvester?
Yes, from what we observed, one person was confirmed dead.
Confirmed by who?
According to the information, a fan who attempted to jump over the inner fence onto the perimeter, hair on his neck, and blood was shooting from his ear, and medical staff nearby did confirm that he died from heart fall.
Now, to the issue of the overcrowdedness, what did the organizers say concerning having this in check prior to the final match on yesterday? Were there any measures put in place by the organizers? I know you've been speaking with them pre-match and post-match as well.
Yeah, I know that they had several security meetings. We know the Liberian National Police was present. We had other security apparatus also present at the match yesterday. But it can be reported the Ministry of Youth and Sports announced earlier that they have also the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and grand final matches to accompany football print, vision print. So the Ministry of Youth and Sports were in charge of the printing of tickets and of course the sale of tickets for yesterday's finals.
If the ministry wasn't in charge, we understand they outsourced it. What sort of oversight did they have over the entire process, especially when it comes to the number of tickets printed and sold, taking into consideration the capacity of the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex?
In fact, on Saturday when we checked with the Deputy Minister of Sports and the Kwame, including all the exact price or prices of tickets for Sunday final, he said he heard that the tickets were going to be sold for $5 around the fee, $15 for stadium win, and $25 for around the VIP stand. But this was something he couldn't confirm because according to him, the sale of tickets was not controlled or wasn't controlled by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Instead, Vision Print got the right to print and sell tickets for the finals.
Okay, Worry, thank you for updating us. Appreciate you. Try to get in contact with Minister Kwame to ask more questions, if not today, but tomorrow. But this issue of the overcrowdedness of the stadium, more tickets sold than the capacity. You have ticket holders standing outside, but yet and still the stadium is jam packed to capacity. These are things that we need to get sorted out before something more catastrophic than what happened yesterday happens at the stadium. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sama.
Sylvester Worry is the head of sports here at the Spoon Network, and we'll do our best to contact the Deputy Minister of Sports, Minister Adi Kwame, to hear from him as well. If they did outsource the printing and sale of tickets, what kind of oversight did they have over the process? Because at the end of the day, it is a competition organized by the Ministry of Youth and Sports in collaboration with the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And whatever goes wrong or goes right, those ministries are the ones that will take the blame or take the accolade. All right. So to our next story that we have, as I said, a lot happening in the country. This story will be speaking to the publisher of the Liberian investigator, Leonard Dodu. He joins us via the phone. But it's a story surrounding let's make Moravia great again. Let's make Monserrato great again. Where are the Sir Joseph bosses? And the Liberian investigator has been able to do an investigative story surrounding where they are. Remember, Senator Sir Joseph some years back brought in his Monserrato transport to augment the failing NTA and said he was providing affordable transportation to Liberians living in and around Monserrato County with the mantra to make Monserrato great again. But where are the bosses? Have they made Monserrato great and decided to go and make another county even greater? Or what is going on? There was a whole lot of fuss surrounding the uses of the NTA fence by Senator Sir Joseph for his Monserrato transport service to, have their buses parking there. But now, where are those buses? According to the Liberian investigator, for which we'll be speaking to the publisher, and we made our attempts to contact Senator Sir Joseph, but we were told he's not going to speak to the matter. Those buses are somewhere in Nimba. What are they doing there? They are his personal property. We know that. But the guys for which they were brought in under that, they were meant to help ease transportation issues. The government was failing in that regard with NTA, and those buses were of great help, But where are they now? But let's speak to the publisher of the Liberian investigator, a very refined Liberian journalist, Leonard Dodu, who's on the line with us. Good afternoon to you, Leonard. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Chief. I'm doing good. And how are you also?
I'm pretty well. And thank you for the good work you're doing there at the Liberian Investigator. It's a paper that I do read and follow. And this story piqued my interest. Monserrato left in dust from bus to dust. What's happening? What's the story surrounding Monserrato transport service and the buses that were brought in by Senator Sir Joseph?
Well, Bermond, we all know that, some years back, the Senator of Monserrato County, Senator Sir Joseph, brought in several buses, which he officially turned over to the county, to the then superintendent of Monserrato County at the time, Superintendent Florence Brandy, and said that the bus used to ease the transportation challenges in the county, and that it will provide transportation services at a very minimal cost, I think $50 per ride to anywhere in the county or so. But then suddenly, all the buses have disappeared from the streets. If you have also observed. So we began to inquire the whereabouts of these buses. And then we got a tip of that these buses were being rented to ArcelorMittal in Yekepa. Taking their staff between Sanikole and Yekepa and on the mines. So we went as far as Yekepa to actually verify this claim. We have pictures of the buses on the mines. pictures of the buses in San Nicolas. You still see the MTS, which is the Monserrato Transport Services, stickers on the buses and make money again. You still find those stickers on the buses. So that alone tells you that each of the buses that's in Montserrat County that can no longer be seen in Montserrat County, but are now being used in Nima County to the financial gains of the senator.
Now, you said these buses, according to your investigative findings, are under contract with the mining giant ArcelorMittal to, commute their employees back and forth work. And have you been able to speak to the senator as well? Any inquiries concerning these buses as well?
We did have to get comments for the senator for 2 weeks. We waited for his response for 2 weeks. We have screenshot of the WhatsApp messages that we sent to him. When he called him several calls, he didn't return the calls. He saw the WhatsApp messages and chose not to respond. So, and then we still made some follow-ups before the publication, and we still didn't get any word from him. So we were left with no alternative but to go to run our story, because we realized that this is something that he wasn't willing to respond to.
Now, according to your
our due diligence.
Okay, all right. According to your investigative findings, how long now have these buses been there operating in Nimba? Left Monserrato, having made Monserrato great for a period, and now helping to make ArcelorMittal greater.
I cannot be specific as to when exactly these buses left Monserrato. I cannot give you date or time, but we know that they've been out of here since after the elections. We haven't seen these buses around. We're talking about the 2023
July elections.
Exactly.
I know it is his private investment, though he turned them over to the county. One would say it was a political move at the time. But what constrains pulling these buses out of Monserrato, a county that he represents in the Senate? What constraints now have been left on Liberians who are struggling already with the ineffectiveness of the NTA?
And this is the point of contention, right? One would say that, he procured the buses using his own resources and brought them in. Well, that's another investigation all by itself as to how these buses were even acquired. But leaders should be held accountable. When he brought in these buses, he brought it in for specific use. He said, I'm giving these buses to the county to ease transportation, to help the UL students, to help the market women, to help our commuters. I mean, that was the purpose of the buses. And trust me, because of these buses, people have paid political loyalty to him. In a way, because they see that this is a leader who is there for the people and helping the people. But yet, after elections, the true motive for which these buses were brought is now being revealed. These buses are now his cash cow. And we know the transportation challenges. I mean, go around around Central Bank by 4, 5 in the evening and see old women, old men standing in long queues. They get themselves packed up in other commercial buses, and it's so terrible, very, very terrible.
Were those buses a campaign carrot that was dangled in front of Liberians, Monserratians at the time, and once the aim was achieved, the carrot was removed?
Now, we did not think of it like that at the time, but now that's what the senator wants us to believe.
Leonard, thank you so much again. We appreciate you and the Liberian investigator. Whenever we want to get more clarity and in-depth analysis of your stories, we'll be calling you. And thank you for availing yourself as well.
It's always a pleasure, sir. It's a national duty, so I'll always be available.
Okay, thank you. Leonard Dodu is the publisher of the Liberian Investigator. And yes, we did make an attempt to speak to Monserrato County Senator Sir Joseph, but we were told he wasn't going to speak to the matter of these buses. Well, make Monserrato great again. Those bosses, do for yourself your own due diligence and see if they're still here applying the streets of Montserrado County, providing transportation services. And again, as a wake-up call for the national government. Yes, he's a leader. He pledged those buses to Montserrado County, but he has decided, whatever the case is, to go and make Asalameta greater, provide transportation for the workers and employees of the mining giant, and leaving his constituents, to fight over buses and all of that. But we'll still be making our effort, to speak to Senator Sir Joseph, if not today, but tomorrow as well. If you're just joining us, this is the Pulse here on the Spoon Network. My name is Diamond Slanger. I'm the host. We come your way Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We bring you national issues, whether politics, social, economic, human interest, whatever. We bring the newsmakers to you so that you hear the information firsthand. But one thing you can get for yourself is to win at least 4,000 Liberian dollars today. All you need to do is to dial *799 *83 hash. Okay, so *799 *3 and then hash, *799 *3 and then hash. Once you do that, you go to Spoon Network and you play and win 4,000 Liberian dollars. If you want to do it the long way, it's *799 *80 then hash, and then you choose number 3. But the short way, which I'll encourage you to do, because the more you play, the better your chances of winning, is to dial *799 *3 hash. Play with 70 cents United States dollars for those of you using your USD wallet, or play with 100 Liberian dollars and win for yourself 4,000 Liberian dollars. All right, so that's what you need to do. Play the mobile money game, the radio game, and win for yourself. So the next story, and we'll be speaking to the president of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, has got to do with the Executive Mansion Press Corps. They are the ones who cover the president. They are journalists accredited by the Executive Mansion, the Presidential Press Secretary's office, to cover the president, and they're from different institutions around the country. But the Hot Pepper newspaper published a story. The Hot Pepper newspaper published a story, and in that story, they were claiming that the presidential press secretary, Kula Fofana, was allegedly given 18,000, US dollars to give to journalists from the Executive Mansion Press Corps to cover the president's State of the Nation, the SONA, the SONA that happened on last week, Monday. And according to the Hot Pepper, only 600 US dollars was given to journalists of the EMPC. And we'll be speaking to the president of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, Godfrey Baidu. He will join us on the phone to speak to this, and we will be also attempting to speak to the press secretary, Madam Kula Bona Yen Fofana, surrounding this. But we'll be speaking to the president of the Executive Mansion Press Corps first, and he will tell us exactly what's their own position concerning this story. But this is what the Hot Pepper wrote according to their headline, that after allegedly receiving US 18,000 on their behalf, Kula Fofana gives E-Mansion reporters 600 for SONA coverage. Well, let's see if we can speak to the president of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, Godfrey Baidu, once he's able to get on the line with us, to hear from their own angle what unfolded there. Good afternoon to you, Godfrey. How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for affording us your time.
Welcome, sir.
All right. So there is a story that has been published, and you are the head of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, a group of journalists, accredited journalists who do cover the presidency. What's the story surrounding the coverage of the SONA? Did you receive any amount of money from the press secretary?
Thank you so much, Daman. It's a controversial issue. I was told by my colleagues, after the SONA cases president to the airport. He was going to Tanzania to start the compact for the area.
Godfrey, we're not really getting you. Coming in a bit distorted. You just want to change your location for a bit, so that we can hear from you.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, let's hear you out. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was saying that I got the information from my colleagues. I wasn't there. I was there.
Godfrey, let me call you back. Yeah. And see if we can get you better. All right, so we'll try to reconnect with Godfrey, but remember to play the radio game *799 *3#. That's the short code. The more you play, the better your chances of winning. So you need to play and win 4,000 Liberian dollars right now. So the more you play, and I reach my draw limit, I'll start to do draws. The more you play, the more draws I can do. So please dial *799 *3#. Let's see if we have Godfrey back on the line. Yes, Godfrey. Let's go to what you were saying concerning. My question was: did you receive anything from the press secretary for covering the SONA?
Yes, Executive Mansion team received 600 USD, and that was received by my co-chair, my assistant, on that day after the president SONA. I hastily rushed with him to the airport because he was going to Tanzania to go and sign that compact in Tanzania. So I rushed with him to the airport. My colleague later on called me that he had received 600 USD from the secretary of it.
And what was the purpose of the 600 United States dollars, and how many individuals or institutions were allotted the 600?
I was told that it was a form of transportation for those who attended the program, and it was for about 1%.
Did I hear you say transportation for accredited e-mansion journalists?
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Okay. And is there any information surrounding the amount being more than what was given? And if so, what is the conversation like between you as the Executive Mansion Press Corps and the PPS office?
The question is, Diamond, we are not paid for the presidency. What happens is that, it's kind of, we do something in our background with the money. I appreciate it. I pay for that. That is the first thing I want to clear. And then later, if some.
Corporate, I'm losing you again. I don't know where you are, but the reception is not its finest. I only you said?
Can you get me now?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, and before the show now, I was told that night that the president had received some money for the Executive Mansion Press Corps, of which, of course, I never had any idea about. And besides, like I was saying, the media, especially the reporters, are not paid for stories being covered. They are some reporters at the mansion. So sometimes maybe it's a little incentive for the transportation, but I can say the office, very tough for information is not there, and information are not even with that said amount. We try to engage her on it. She posted that there was no money given for the press, and said money was given to her office to conduct some work for the president, where she's supposed to do some banners, stickers, social media stuff. That was what we were told. There was no money allotted for the Executive Mansion Press. So some of us start to raise the critical question: then how come did you give a transportation of 600 USD to the press for transportation? Where did that come from? Well, such question was not answered.
All right. So from what I heard from you, even though your voice is coming in, a bit distorted, is that yes, you were informed that money was given, but it was not for accredited journalists, rather for the press secretary office to print materials relating to the SONA, and there wasn't anything allotted to you guys for transportation, right?
but they're giving to us.
Okay, so we keep losing Godfrey. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
About 600 giving for enforcement for the press executive into the PPS.
All right, so Godfrey, let me call you back or just try. Are you using a headset or an earpiece?
Now I'm using my phone.
Okay. All right, so let's try again. So you said you were informed that there was nothing allotted for you guys, and it was just to print materials for the president's sooner for the PPS's office.
Yes.
Okay. Then where did the 600 come from according to your inquiry?
So that's the question we asked, and but there was no result. And she went and said, "Oh, that's a transportation for."
All right. So I wish I could continue this conversation. I'll try to reconnect with you, and hopefully it will be better the third time around. But the hot pepper is running with this story, and we have been trying to get in contact with the reporter assigned at the mansion Ojuku to see where this accusation is coming from, and also to balance our story to speak to the presidential press secretary once we can get her on the line as well. But Godfrey Baidu is the chairman of the Executive Mansion Press Corps. Let's see if we can reconnect with Godfrey on the line. This issue, we've been told, is also bringing a lot of disenchantment. This accusation is bringing a lot of disenchantment as well there with members in the Executive Mansion Press Corps. So it's only good to balance our narrative as well. Godfrey, yeah, go ahead. You were talking about allotments.
Yes, I was saying there was no allotment according to the PPS for the press.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't know where the 600. There was no statement made to that.
Has this issue been discussed, amongst your members? Is this issue being discussed among your members? And if so, what other level of heightened engagement? Because mind you, you do cover the president, but you do that under the office of the presidential press secretary.
Yeah, the first thing I was attacked by my colleagues, and they keep saying that my behavior towards the press secretary is like I'm supporting her cause, and I was like, no. We've tried, several times engaging the press secretary office to have meetings with her, but instead the press secretary have not given us the clear eye to meet with us. The next thing is even we have not met the president since he sat in his office or since he took office.
As the Executive Mansion Press Corps, you haven't had an official introduction or a meet and greet with the president of the Republic of Liberia 2 years going now?
We haven't. Every time we ask the press secretary, we try to push. He say, "Oh, the woman is busy. He's somewhere. He's doing something else. He's doing something. He's doing a whole lot of excuses." We have not met with the president, and these are things that are getting, the press corps, offhand some kind of, and I can tell you, Damo, most of the guys, even up to this morning, there was a hot issue. I think Hot Pepper published an article today concerning that same 600 issue. According to the Hot Pepper, there was money allotted for the Executive Mansion Press, and then we received later. So I tried to inquire from my colleagues again, try to talk to people around. But then it wasn't easy. There's no response to that.
All right. And as the head of the EMPC, Godfrey, I know I have to let you go because this involves, more conversations and more investigations. It's just, an article that is in the paper. We'll be speaking to the guys from the Hot Pepper to know where they got their story and their evidence as well. It's been published. But with what you said, is there a strained relationship between the EMPC and the PPS's office?
Yes, there's a strained relationship. There's no coordination. There's hard feelings between the both sides. And the press office is not really coordinating with us. We get information just at the finger. As I'm speaking to you, the president was supposed to be somewhere today by 11 o'clock. We got that information by 9:30, 9:45. I'm sure the PPS office is closed with all information. There should be prior notice to the president activities. We should be ahead of information. But sadly, Tamo, we are way behind of information. So most of the time, you will not get members attending these programs. And the press secretary approach to members, especially the press corps, is very discouraging.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, sometimes we don't have the rightful information. When you ask the press secretary questions, it takes us sometimes a day or two to respond to those questions. And that was what happened with the hot paper publication. People ask questions. For about 2 to 3 days, you couldn't respond until she saw the hot paper up this morning. If I see publish it in chat room, because we are all in a network chat room, she published it in the chat room and we got to know. Before she started to get clarity, there was no publication, there was no money. But the press corps, that money was given to her to do some printing, to do some pen drive, a whole lot of things. There is no information, there is no coordination, there is no relationship. The executive management press corps actually have written her letter like 6 times, trying to meet with her in her office. But the press secretary have refused.
With this screen relationship that you're talking about, how is it affecting the coverage of the president?
It's a great one. You hardly see people around the presidency like people in the past government. Mostly you will see Spoon and Cool FM and Cool TV because they are mostly close to the government. Other people go there when they have the needed information. Like I said, this morning, the president was going somewhere by 11 o'clock, and we were informed by 9:30. So imagine someone living Johnsonville, someone living Cloudwell. At what time would they get prepared to go for the assignment? We don't have an office at the mansion. If we had an office, all executive mansion reporters assign the executive mansion. Early in the morning, since that place is your assigned area, you will go there and be there. So all presidential activities you will be able to attend. These are some of the issues we want to bring before the press secretary, but he's refusing to sit down with us.
I know I have to let you go, but with all of the approaches that you've made, and as a leader of that press corps, that has got the accreditation to cover the president and activities surrounding the presidency, what other approach now are you looking to engage? Because it's also the effectiveness of your work as independent journalists covering the presidency. What other approach, as the leader and that group, are you looking to explore?
I have talked to the Minister of Information, Mr. Pia. We discussed, and he promised to intervene. I have also, my team, the leadership, have also met with Mr. Kessely. Yeah. Mr. Kessely, we've talked, and he's also promised to intervene. So we are also looking up to them to see what they will do. So the leadership are planning to meet with Mr. Kessely again, maybe somewhere next week. We will write him a letter again, asking for his audience. If he permits us, we'll go and remind him concerning what we discussed. Because, our reportage at the executive mansion is not all about news. We are promoting Liberia. Yes, if we see the wrong, we will report. If we see the good, we will report it. But it's about promoting Liberia.
All right, Godfred. Thank you. We hope that this can be resolved, and you guys can enjoy a very good working relationship. As you said, it's not just for your institutions, but it's for the millions of Liberians who depend on your institutions for information as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Damo.
Godfred Baidu is the chairman of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, the EMPC, there on the line with us, discussing issues as well. All right, folks, my name is Diamond Slanger. You're welcome if you're just joining us to the pause. This is a program that covers everything Liberia. You can contact me if you've got information or you want to promote your goods and services on this program as well. I'll pin my number. You can call me on that number and we can discuss if you've got information to share, if you want to be featured on this program, or you want to promote your goods and services. All right. So at 4 p.m., we'll be playing host to Representative Jim Schooler, speaking relatively to the issues surrounding communication from embattled Speaker J. Fanati Kofa, this whole issue of ejection from the office, care office, no, take away where you took the speakership, and all that kind of stuff. What's going on? What's happening? This whole speakership impasse. Where are we now? Has the majority finally taken over the House? We did see Richard Nangwe-Kun with REP1 on his vehicle. He was the one who presided over the State of the Nation address. Someone will tell you, say, we must draw you first before you see. But the issue of the office, where are we now? And the communication from embattled Speaker Kofa that says the same way you took me for the speakership and the same way you should take your office as well. But to our next story, rescue to luxury or rescue to development? That is the question. That is the question that is being asked. Rescue to development or rescue to luxury? There is a story that is brewing surrounding the purchase of vehicles by the CEO of the National Oil Company, NOCAL, former Representative Rostalin Swakoko Dennis. People have been commenting and we have been investigating. And the CEO of NOCAL responded on Facebook and will post her responses on Facebook surrounding these vehicles. The vehicles are 2. And we'll read what she said and we'll talk about her response a bit before we do our first draw and take our guests, whether on the phone or in person. So what's the background? There is an allegation that the CEO of the National Oil Company, former Representative Rostalin Swakoko Dennis, had used 75,000 United States dollars to purchase a vehicle. And then the information kind of changed that she purchased 2 vehicles within the 75,000 that is allotted to her office, a vehicle. And before I get to all of this, I'd like to read quickly what we spend as a country every year when we do budgetary allotment. For fiscal year 2025, the national budget that is in the tune of 851.8 million. Out of that 851.8 million, we as a country, we are projected to spend 745 million just on recurring expenditures. That is operational costs, by purchasing of vehicles and all of these things, salaries and essential services. That constitutes 87.5% of our budget, leaving 106 million, which constitute 12.5 to go to cover infrastructural development and any other thing we want to do. So, in essence, our government spends 87% of our budget just on recurrent expenditures, salaries, operational costs, CEO them buying and sell vehicles, people traveling here and there, and all that kind of stuff. We spend that portion of our budget, 87%. Then a 12.5 is used to go into infrastructural development. So as a country that spends that kind of money just to service salaries and operational expenses and DSAs and the rest, what rate are we going to develop at? Because the government is the biggest employer single biggest employer or largest employer. In other countries, the private sector is the biggest employer. And when people are employed by the private sector, you get more taxes, you get more revenue source, and the government is able to generate more, and you have a smaller, public sector or civil service, and people earn from the private sector, and it drives investment or development in the country. But where you see everybody is running for government job, and the elite class in our country are the politicians rather than business owners. The fastest path to wealth in our country is politics. You either become a representative or a senator or a director or executive director or a chairperson or some CEO of a government institution, a state-owned enterprise or something, and we find out that the richest in our society are the politicians. So everybody now gravitates towards politics, and we all hail and praise sing politicians. So when I wake up one morning, I look at it, the country is now providing me the opportunity to grow and to be self-employed and empowered and all of these things. I join from my political party. We become stakeholders because one party again win election and in Liberia. Then we get a piece of the pie and we hail politicians. But let's go back to the NOCAL issue. So the CEO of NOCAL, Honorable Rosalind Swakoko Dennis, decided to speak to the car issue. And this is what she said, and we'll speak to her response. Rescue to luxury. In a country that we should be looking at austerity measures, how to curb public spending, expenditure, and waste, how to tie our belts and see how best we can take funds that are allotted for luxury and self-aggrandizement and turn them to the educational and the health sector. We are doing rescue to luxury. So she decided to respond to the allegations of purchasing 2 vehicles. And this is what she said. And for those of you watching, I'll post the screenshot and I'll read it for those of you listening. And let's listen to our people. This is a verified Facebook page. And she writes, the CEO of NOCAL official car is not $75,000 United States dollars. The CEO is aware that the position is of trust and carries sensitive information. Therefore, a CEO will not ride in one car with her drivers, securities, and staffers. The CEO has a utility vehicle for errands. Yes. The CEO will use it on weekends and holidays and use her official vehicle for official matters. Let's pause right here and come back. So you take money and buy a utility vehicle for yourself and say, me and my security, we get ride in a same car because I get sensitive information and I get serious information, so I can ride in a same car with my securities and my drivers. So meaning more than one driver. So I purchased a utility vehicle that will be used by my securities and my drivers. Then I get my official vehicle. So the vehicle that you use the government money to purchase, the one that utility now, is it not on official duty as well? When you carry your drivers and your staffers, is that not an official duty? But the response goes to say, then I will use that utility one on holiday and weekends. So we are providing you a vehicle for weekend and holidays. Then you have the one that you can use for official. So which of the functions now is unofficial? I thought that unofficial functions should be serviced by your personal vehicle. That state-owned property is meant for state-owned functions and duties. Official. So the CEO goes on to say that the utility vehicle will run errands, and the CEO will use it on weekends and holidays and use her official vehicle for official matters. The CEO encourages young Liberians to learn to work together, and not everyone will be CEO at the same time. The CEO states strongly she doesn't sign checks alone, but rather with a vice president of finance and checks signed pass through scrutiny. The CEO will not kowtow to powo. I don't understand that last part. But let's go back to this issue of entitlement. So 75,000, according to this post, was used to buy 2 vehicles. The budget is there that you have 75,000 limit as the ceiling. But in a country that is as poor as ours, aren't public officials supposed to use their 10 cents of reasoning to say, look, how can we save money and produce more and be more productive and save money? But rather, we are looking at how we can posture, how we can live better, because a position says I have 75,000. So like you give somebody $10, you say, cook me soup in a $10. And the person says, oh yeah, like $10 now, so I'll just waste the whole $10. Instead of saying, okay, there is a tomorrow, let me use 5 today and use 5 tomorrow. But he said, I will use all, because me and my security can ride in the same car. Me and my drivers can ride in the same car. So I need a utility vehicle. Instead of buying a utility vehicle for the entire NOCAL or the presidency or the CEO position, the vice presidency, and everybody can use it, you buy one utility vehicle for your one, to run your errands, to go bring your fried rice and chicken, to carry your clothes to the laundry. You take state resources and buy a vehicle to service just your needs. While there are hospitals that 30,000 could do a much good work for. But let's look at the spirit of entitlement, how we have elevated people who are supposed to be serving us, and they feel they are above us in every aspect. That my security and my second ride the same car. My drivers and myself, where are our leaders headed to? What do they think about when they are making decisions? You want to be a leader who will be looked at as an exemplary figure. That look, I have cut waste. I have cut excess spendings here at NOCAL. So instead of getting myself a 75,000 vehicle, I got myself a 30,000 vehicle, and 40,000 was used for X, Y, and Z. But rather, we are appeasing ourselves that one vehicle is for utility, assigned only to the office of the CEO. It's not for users. Anybody else can use it. It's for the CEO to run her errands. To say, look, go to this other player, go pick up X, Y, and Z for me. Get in the car, you go. Where are we going? Isn't this supposed to be a government of austerity? A government that was to curb and cut the waste in public sector? So 2 vehicles, that one will be parking when the other one in use during the weekend, and all 2 will be in use. So you're looking at few. The 2 vehicles not in use because one will be carrying driver and security there, then the other one will be carrying the boss lady herself. We have to fuel both of them. So we get one driver driving the main car, then you get assistant driver and then driving the other one, and everybody going. This is what we are talking about. When you make decisions, whether justifiable, yes, it's in the budget, you can spend $75,000 to buy a vehicle, but looking at where we are as a country, aren't we all supposed to be taking austerity cuts? When you are in a public office, aren't you supposed to think about, what am I doing here that will leave a long-lasting legacy that will set as an example to others? But we buy two vehicles, 2. One for weekend, where we're supposed to be using our private vehicles for our private matters. That one is there for weekend and holiday, so that one is the holiday and the weekend vehicle. Then one is there for official matters. Think about it. Just think about it. Because the money is there, so I will spend it in a way to appease myself. So there is a second post, and we'll be following up on this story. As I said, we are looking at public officials to perform and have these contracts that when they perform, they can have incentives. A performance contract. I saw the president signing one with his officials and all of that. How are you producing? What are your benchmarks to achieve? What are your goals to achieve? How much are you bringing in terms of revenue? That if you reach this benchmark, like the way other jobs do, and you reach a certain benchmark, they reward you. It's not just to run to these positions because of what they offer. I'm entitled to this. I get XYZ amount of fuel every month, so I must spend it. I have XYZ amount for scratch cards, even though I don't make those calls, so I should spend it. I have this in my budget for traveling, so I should travel. What are the returns? How are you performing in these positions? At the end of the year, where is the performance report to say, okay, this person, when this person got in this position, this is what they achieved, this is what they did, this is what they did, and this is how they've uplifted this place from this place. So they're entitled to a raise, or they're entitled to some bonus, or they're entitled to this. When you buy 2 vehicles for your one, and one for weekend and one for holidays, and one to drive you only, the question that many Liberians are asking is, where do we, the ordinary people, stand in these matters? How are we thought about? And if this Liberia actually is for every one of us. So there's more to this story. I've been seeing more responses coming from the CEO of NOCAL. We will be following up on this as it unfolds. Yes, the money was there to be spent. How it was spent, that is what the question is. And should we be doing these things at such a time where civil servants are saying they want their salaries to be increased? The government has said, look, we want to increase civil servant salaries, but we're looking at how we're generating revenue and how we can spread it across and have everybody get a piece of increment. But there is still massive waste occurring in government. What about standardization, my people? Why every institution buying their own vehicles? Why was it scrapped? That the GSA used to buy vehicles and all of that, but now the institutions will buy the vehicles themselves, and the GSA just logs the vehicles or the assets under the government, database. When you want to stop waste, it's intentional. You should be intentional about it. Example, if the government of Liberia, let's start with the legislature, says that, look, all senators and representatives will be given a Land Cruiser Jeep, the one they can call hot top, because of the road conditions, we cut it across. So the government is going to purchase these vehicles in bulk. You know what it does? It gives you a better position to bargain, because you go into the manufacturer and you buy in bulk. So look, give these things to us as factory price. There's no middleman and all the kind of thing in the middle to start making all kinds of profit and all kinds of stuff. You go directly at source. Or even if there is a middle person, the profit margin is reduced. What it does is it gives you a better opportunity at maintaining your fleet, because you have one kind, one model, one make. So you bring in the parts that are needed. You sign a contract with the manufacturer that as we are purchasing these vehicles from you, we want you to train our mechanics, or you bring some of your mechanics with the parts at a reduced price, that whenever there's a breakdown, they can be repaired by the government of Liberia. So you have a standardized fleet. So nobody riding Escalade that when it's spoil, they have to go buy Escalade parts, and then you have to pay extra for that. It's standardized. For directors at agencies and ministries and the rest who are not going out of town and all these things, you buy them Renault Logan. You buy Renault Logan. The public sector is not a place to come and live a luxurious life. You want to live in luxury, make your money in the private sector, you be rich, you do everything, you buy the type of vehicle you want to buy. You live the kind of life you want to live. When you come to public service, you are to serve your people. Standardization. That is what other people are doing. It's a best practice. You see it right here, you see UN buy the same vehicles. They think right in our faces, we're seeing it every day. International agencies and organizations, they buy the same vehicle. And it's better to maintain their fleet. But you say, CEO for the other institution, you get 75,000 car. After 3 years, that car is deemed as it has lived its lifespan. Come and can buy an old car, so you have to buy a new one. After 3 years, where do those vehicles go? Nobody knows. People take them. So we keep doing the same thing every time. Every time we're doing the same thing. We're just spending money on making people to live better lives. Then we can't do flashing to our people. We do flashing. The man will use the same money that you're paying him, the same money is what to do something for you. He can't add humanitarian to you. Then you hear him. Hey, start fighting your friend for that person. In a country as ours. Where is the standardization? Where is it? Where is the standardization? Where is it? And we tell ourselves we are intentional about development. How? When we spend 87.5% of our budget every year on servicing cars, on buying new fleet of vehicles, on paying people lump sum salaries, and the rest of these things, and we only spend 12.5% on trying to develop. How are we going to develop? How? How? It's all about the individual. Look at the Monserrato transport issue. Because the government is buying CEOs and MDs and the rest, allotting them 75,000, 45,000 to buy vehicles for themselves. We don't have public transportation service. So Sir Joseph brought in his bosses, did what he had to do, got all of the glory, took his bosses and carried them nimba. Is the government to blame Sir Joseph for that? It's his private investment. He chooses what to do with his private investment. He chooses what to do with his private investment. If NTA was vibrant and NTA was providing transportation services to our people, we'll be singing this song now. If we're looking at alternative transportation means and not monopolizing everything in this country that we're not able to do. One man who can't get contract for 9 years, 10 years, 15 years. He monopolizes the sector. Nobody else can come in that sector because feeling taking it for himself. There is no competition. We suffer. Are we looking at water transportation? You get on the Do River, you get on the Monserrato, you go to St. Paul. You get off at St. Paul. You're already in Broadville. I've been on a canoe and I've gone that road on the water. From Providence Island, Do River, Monserrato, St. Paul. You there. NTA, National Transit Authority, transport not only buses. Are we looking outside of the box? Are we? What about rails? I heard the president talk about the railway authority. When you can build road, you can build railroads. You can encourage private investors to make use of the rail, construct rail, train. It will not only transport people, it can transport goods. Every day we get the same problem as a country. Every day. La one bedroom, but the one bedroom is just difficult to talk of it. Where are we? What alternatives are we looking at? How are we encouraging private sector investment? You get the money to do it, outsource it. Encourage road construction companies. Come and build this coastal highway for us and do a tour service on it for 10 to 15 years until you can get your money out of it. It's a win-win situation. You get a road, the company gets their money out. Every year we heal, we are rehabilitated. They roll from they play to they play. We clear the mud, we pull them one by, we do them one. Hey, every year the same thing. Every year, the same old thing. The waste is just there to pay people and make people to live better lives at the detriment of the majority. Look at the Tottenham Boulevard. Oh, we know that there is a need to expand the Tottenham Boulevard. That is why in the morning, those coming from Pinsville to town, they give on 3 lanes. In the evening hours, those coming from town towards Pinsville, they give on 3 lanes. It tells you that this road has outlived its purpose. It needs to be expanded. What other alternative roads do we have? When you pass from Cali Junction, going all the way to Nigeria House, all the way to 540, there is no alternative. You have to be on a particular smallish casual road. But every year, instead of us adopting a policy or a project and say, okay, this is our national road transformation project for the next 20 years, that every year in the budget is intentional that we have XYZ amount that goes towards expansion of new roads and everything, irrespective of which government is in power, we allot 45,000 and 75,000 and say go buy a new car because the road ain't good. After 3 years, the road spoil it. So buy a new car for yourself. Keep the old one. This is Liberia. The waste is just too much. The waste has transitioned into indiscipline. Look at the indiscipline in our country. Everybody does their own thing. From the top all the way down. Everybody does their own thing. Everybody just doing their own thing. Everybody doing their own thing to the extent you don't even know which vehicle now is a security vehicle and which one is not. Everybody got siren on their car. Everybody. When one government official vehicle take the opposite lane, there's a driver, keke, everybody will jump behind that person because that is the example you're setting. The indiscipline is too much. And the sad part is when you sit and look at the generation that is to come, they adapting the indiscipline as well, and it's just growing into a culture. It's just growing into a culture. I remember growing up, we now have traffic lights because it was poor everything. But when policemen put a hand up like that and say stop, you will stop. But now when policemen say stop, boss driver papahin, tell driver papahin, keke driver papahin, motorbike papahin, common vehicle papahin. When you look at the level of compliance in our country, just take the data from the transportation sector. Commercial vehicles are even more compliant than vehicles that are owned by our public officials. I'll repeat that. Commercial vehicles, taxi, buses, keke, motorbikes, trucks that are used for commercial purposes, they are more compliant to our road regulations than vehicles that are owned by public officials. The bus driver know that he's making a living from a bus. He will register a bus. He will insure his bus. The taxi driver will do the same. The keke rider will do the same. But the big man who's making 15,000, 5,000, 10,000, 12,000 will decide not to put license plate on his car. Will decide not to insure his car. Will decide not to put fire extinguisher, not to register his car. Meanwhile, he is the one that's supposed to lead by example. His car is not registered. It's not insured. He's got no fire extinguishers. All he does is to put one shining light in front of it that will blink red, white, and blue. When police see him coming, police give way. He passes by. Non-compliance. No discipline. So the keke rider to see it. The keke rider tell siren to put on a keke. He tell hunting light and put it on a car. He blinding the next driver that can't even see. When he decides to wake up late to go to work and he's running late, he will get on the opposite lane and be doing to pass you by. Because he's entitled not to comply to anything. How can a country that even the leaders do not abide by the laws want the ordinary citizen to do the same? Even government cars are registered. The only vehicles, according to our vehicle and traffic laws, that are exempted from registration, having carrying license plate, that the vehicles of the armed forces of the Republic of Liberia. They carry the markings of the AFL. How they do their vehicle coding is on their vehicle. They don't carry plates. From what I read, that's the only vehicle that does not carry a plate. Even the president's vehicle carry the presidential standard. That plate you can see on the president car. That symbol is called the presidential standard. Even the president's vehicle carries that standard to let you know that it is carrying a symbol. Then you now, lawmaker, laymen are in a fire service that they give position to, police officer that get your own private vehicle, no license plate, nothing. But people will stand in front of you on the road and tell you to abide by the laws. So the laws in the country, they're only for the man who is down there. The level of indiscipline. And it trickles down. It trickles down. When a family member or somebody getting problem and the policeman arrest that person, get him on the phone. Hello? Yeah, I mean, you need so. I'm injured down and let the man go. You shame the police officer right on his post. You make him to look less important to the citizen. So the police officer got the citizen got no respect for the police no more. Because when I get in any trouble, I'll call my relative who's somewhere up there and they will speak their code and the police officer will say, yes, sir. Pass. So I decide now that my relative are B-men, so I never raise on my own car too. I'm not abide by any laws. And laws, the laws are what makes us different from animals. The rules, the laws that we have, they make us different. The laws that we have makes us different from other animals. So you look at it now, everybody doing their own thing. It's difficult to control. And people come up and say mob violence. The indiscipline, the lack of respect for the laws, the let my men go like my interest down there has led to what we see now, that people have no trust in the justice system. So what do they resolve to? Which is a bad practice. They resolve to taking the laws in their own hands. They resort to taking the laws into their own hands. You got a man say, when a man does something to me, I carry into the police station, the police will free. The man will tell me, say, oh, I just go and rest for 3 days. I'll come by in the very community and I'll cause more trouble. So people then lose respect and interest in the law. They don't trust the law. When something happens, once you hear people saying nothing will come from order A, nothing will come from order A, people grow that perception, that mindset that nothing comes from other bad things that people do, so they have to go for retribution. They have to pay themselves. They have to take the law into their own hands. It's because the indiscipline has now crept its way into the system. The system is now vulnerable. Everybody who's got some level of influence can get off things. So the poor man feels like the only thing he can do is to take the law into his own hands, which has grown over the years. And this, when it's in existence, hampers development. Where I feel that I'm top, I can do whatever to you. The laws will back me because I'm a big man. Big man case can go anywhere. The poor man feels he can only go to retribution to solve himself, his problem. But in other countries, when somebody take phone and say, I'm calling the police, now you will start begging that person, oh, my man, I beg you, don't call the police, please. Let's settle this thing. Let's see how we can do it. When somebody say, I'm calling 911, or I'm calling 119, or I'm calling whatever number, you know that they are going to take action. But yeah, call the police. Call it. We're talking. All the kids can go in like, bro, nowhere. My partner did, my mother did, I get money, I do them when your kids, own kids are eating from you. So when all these things happen, how can we develop? How can we stop the waste? How can we make our country better? Because our kids are growing up. They're looking at these things. How do we do it? It starts from the government being intentional. It starts from when we all see ourselves as Liberians and no one is more Liberian than the other. And we want to see a better country. I saw on Facebook some weeks back, the IG of police, seized some money from some officers on the highway because they were involved in extorting monies from drivers. I saw the mixed reactions. People were like, "Oh, how you been, man? You not paying it on time? How you gonna?" And you take that job, and you know the job is for $80 a month, and you took that job. You have to take the job seriously. So, what excuse do you make for the men that are making 15,000 but it's still corrupt? It's not about how much money you make. It's about how you take the work. It's not. There are people making $60, $70, $80, $100, and they take that job seriously. And there are people making 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. They still corrupt. It's because we have allowed corruption to become a way. Even when you go to the drugstore, you go buy medicine, when you leave in the place, the person who serves you the medicine looking at you like, if you don't get something, that's how we've made it to be. That you forced to bribe your way to things. So we make systems difficult to work. So that you're supposed to get in 3 days, somebody will make a loan for you that in 1 week you have to pay something to get that thing out. And you know why it's like that? Because there are no actions. No actions. System that's supposed to work for you in 3 days. Somebody will step on that thing intentionally, or because the right people are not placed in the right position to give you maximum productivity. It is so difficult, you have to cut queues and pay. You have to cut queues and pay. And guess what? The government loses because the man who's supposed to do that work for you in real time and pay the money into government revenue takes the money for himself and does it on the side, and he takes the money in your pocket and you go flex. Typical example, go for passport. Just go for passport. Already Liberians, we can go for passport when we want travel. So it's already a pressure on us. Go there. Everybody will be acting and they don't know how the thing works. The passport here, and the way you're looking now, the machine, looking at deal. So you see that other man, you have to get it man sunny. For me to get the other man sunny, for me to get the other man sunny, and the only way the sunny was sunny. Even at health facilities, where you go get your own treatment, somebody there will sit down on the thing and make it and not be paying attention to you. Beyond the line, you be trembling. Yeah. Let's somebody come when they own a patient and get someone and nurse and say, "Oh my man, my patient here too fast." You sit down on that line. Isn't that there? You'll be trembling. They'll look at the person who did something to facilitate the process. No alternatives. Where the service stations that we had before that are in the various counties, that everything you must come to Monserrato. Everything you must come to Monserrato to do it. Where are those county service stations that's supposed to ease the pressure? That if you want your wedding certificate, you want whatever legal document, there are regional hubs that you can go to. Where are those things? Everything you will come to Monserrato. So when all the pressure on Monserrato, how do we progress? And all these things, they cost government money. They cost money. The government loses a lot. Because if you have service stations, whether regionally or in the various counties, example, you divide the country into regions. You say, okay, the southeastern region, we put this service station here. You can get your passports, you can get your birth certificates, you can get whatever, you can pay into government revenue right in this region. In the northern region, we put this there. In the southeast, we put this there. Then all of the pressure is reduced. Then Monserrato, you've got the main hub. You will generate more. But every time we say, how can we generate more revenue when we have a lot of waste and loopholes? My man, let's hear before the director son 18 you know that man, you can travel. Then the one that can really piss me off is where the man will tell you, the man who's about to sign a document, the man travel. Like, very interesting country. The man travel. Yeah, only the man can sign that document. The man who can do that thing for us, the man not yell, the man travel. So because that man travel, the entire thing that's about to work, that productivity that's about to happen, the revenue that post about to get, the thing is about to do to go make a living, the man travel. So you'll be on pause. The man travel. Bro, the thing, the man who's about to do the thing, the man not in the country. So the thing about you have to wait. You have to wait. The man travel. And that attitude is not only in Liberia, the way we behave, customer service, providing service to our people, that attitude that we get like we're doing you a favor. So they usually get angry with those who have got some exposure when they go to these places and they start to blast at them. You're allowed to show yourself when you come from America, you come from somewhere, you're allowed to know plenty. Because that person knows how customer service works. That you are there for the customer, but you go somewhere, you be talking to the person playing on the phone. Yeah, pulling answer. They want to tell you, don't hear me? I say, pull your paper on answer. Don't give me hard on you. Now for your bin, I can't you. When you move on your hole, you're pouring it, you let the can keep your hat on. Now somebody who's about to be providing you service, talking to you like that. When you place the wrong people in the wrong places, these are the kind of things you get. When you put bureaucratic bottlenecks and systems don't work, and people who come for services feel like the person providing the service is providing you a favor. That's how it is. That's how it is. Customer service, because of the indiscipline, the fact that you put people in the wrong positions because of connections or whatever it is, and they feel like nothing can be done to them, they treat the customer who's paying for their employment like the person is their slave. From the security to the boss, everybody feels that kind of entitled big man way. When you talk, you know plenty, you're still on here today. Hey, you know plenty. Man, do you know what I mean? I mean, like, you know plenty. Hey, people be on answer. Hey, people be on answer. I'll deal with somebody else. Then they start to punish you. So when people who have got exposure goes to these places and they start to blast, you're like, you know plenty. Man, tell that man, just to that man, you go before you can bring noise here. You want you know too much. When you come from America, you come to this place, you let to you know plenty. La Liberia. When will we stop saying La Liberia? That we just different from everybody else. Our own way of doing things different. But when we go outside, outside can humble us. When we go outside, we can conform. When we go outside, we can be refined. But when we enter our airspace or we get back here, it's just a different thing. Somebody jokingly said, if you can drive in Liberia, you can drive anywhere else. I agree. If you can live in Liberia, you can live anywhere else. I agree. Because if you can live in a place that is inherently most of the time lawless and people don't follow the rules, when you go to a place that got rules, it will take you a period of time, you will adjust and you live by rules. Motorbike man will pass to your parking side. Or pass on your left, or pass on your right. Pass by you. You get man will turn in front of you anywhere at any time. We say we want roads, we want better roads, we want world-class type of standard roads. They face the road from red light to ERW junction. They say for those of you coming from police academy side, once you get on that road leading to red light, you have to go all the way to red light to 10. Somebody say, no, I can't go all the way red light to 10 because I live in red here, so I will take the opposite side of the road to go to my house. Somebody say, I will take the opposite side because the only way to turn is to go all the way red light and turn and get back to where you're going. They say, no, my house right on this side. So I will take the opposite side and I will go to my house. And nothing will come from out of it. When you stay in front of that person and say, oh, you're passing, I got my right away, they will cuss you up good. We want to enjoy a country of laws. We want to enjoy a developed country. Development goes hand in hand with the rule of law. You cannot develop as a country that does not respect laws. You cannot develop as a people who don't follow rules and regulations. We cannot develop as a country if we are not intentional. We cannot develop as a country when we don't have trust in our legal system. We cannot develop as a country when we divide the national cake in an unequal manner. We cannot develop as a country when people feel like they're doing us favors. Meanwhile, they're supposed to be working for us. We cannot develop as a country if we do not love ourselves. We cannot. Party will go, party will come, president will go, president will come. You just see small, little, tiny things. But you wouldn't see holistic things. We cannot develop as a country when people who are deemed to have caused us harm are harbored and protected by we ourselves, the victims. We cannot. We cannot develop as a country when we set minimum standard for things. At least, man, at least we like this thing too much in the country called at least. You try, at least. And we're not having current before, at least now we get 1 hour of current. So at least that progress. We settle for mediocre things. We cannot. So because we settle for mediocre things, people will always dangle carrots in front of us. They'll give us facelifting and cosmetic things because they know that kind of things we settle for. At least, man, the poor trying. At least we get used to that. The representative couldn't make it. And so I thought for us to have this conversation, I'll open the phone lines right now, but now you can state your own thing that's on your mind concerning how intentional are we as a country? How wasteful are we as a country? How are we going to develop as a country? Our mindset. We need to recalibrate. Look, there is no politician that is powerful than the people. When the people start to hold their leaders accountable, their leaders will be accountable. There is no politician. There is no leader that is above his people. That is why when it's getting to campaign time, they bring you rice, they bring you t-shirt, they bring you this, they bring you that, they bring you $20. That's when they know you're important. when you hold your leaders accountable and you make them to be on their toes, and they know that the people are not going to settle for less, they will perform. They will try all the strategies first. They will try the embellishing strategy. They will try the positive PR strategy. They will try, the confusion strategy, infusing people in your midst. They will try the distraction. But when they realize that you people know what you want and you are intentional about what you want, they will conform. But because I brought a 1 week country, what's only happening? We talk about it for 1 week, we forget about it. So our leaders treat us like that. People got short span memory, man. See that thing? Yeah. When they talk about that thing 1 week, they will leave it. So, surely that thing, lay low. After a week, they will forget about it. And so is the culture. So is the culture. Someone asked me one time in economic class, the person said, looking at all these things we studied in macroeconomics, why is Liberia like this? Why is it we're not making progress? Are our leaders intentionally keeping us in this position so we look up to them all the time? Why is it other countries are making progress? Are they different from us? Do they bleed green or yellow? Aren't we attending all of these things? We attend all of these conferences and all of these things, but yet and still we can't see nothing while other countries are making progress. And I told that person, and I'm saying it now, and I'll go to the phone lines. If the citizens are intentional about their lives being uplifted, the leaders will be intentional. If the citizens are intentional about their lives being uplifted, they will elect intentional people, not people who will give them handouts. They will elect competent people who will go there and change things as they are. Now, beg or leadership. When a man give you beg or campaign time, you don't see him for the next 5 years because if he didn't feeding you for 6 years, give you $20. Someone said, how can a hungry man stand up for his right? It's not about one hungry man. It's about millions of hungry men in your district. It's about tens of thousands of hungry people who are intentional, who will say, look, this is the kind of leader we want. And once we put you there, we will hold you accountable all the time. You will go to the legislature and represent what we want. You didn't come and tell us part of stories. You negotiate on your district's behalf. It's not your duty to fix roads, but you negotiate with the executive to make sure that we get basic social amenities. If you don't do it, if you don't live up to your promises, if we don't hold you accountable, we'll replace you with the next person. And we can even replace you once you break the contract, whether you not serve your sales here or not. We'll bring a petition and we'll see our best to remove you. When people realize that these things can happen, they will conform. But until then, our leaders will take us to be stooges. They will take us for rides. They will dangle carrots in front of us. And we'll call on the radio every day and say, I'm calling from the abandoned district. I'm calling from the neglected district. I'm calling from the underdeveloped district. And you also have those who will call and be praise singers because they have to do that to survive. 0777 771075 0555 Let's hear your take on this Monday evening, should I say? 0777 771075 0555 Those are the numbers to call. Call us up. Let us know what's on your mind. What's your take? Are we intentional as a people, as a leadership, as a country to develop not just infrastructure development, but human capital and index development as well? Hello?
Hello?
You live, sir. 1 minute, please.
Yeah.
Kindly reduce the volume of your radio. Please reduce the volume of your radio.
Yeah, this is Cornelius B. Mobile calling from Chicken Soup Factory.
You're welcome, Cornelius. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Thank you for the topic on the discussion this evening. We as a citizen, we have to be very smart when it comes to election. We have to know the type of people that we are putting into power, because these guys will just come with lies. These guys will come with big words that most of us, we as a youth that are not educated, will be easy to carry, will be very naive to carry them to that particular house. So at the end, we will be treated like slaves in our own country. We will be lack of many things that we have to be access to. And one thing I draw my mind closer that you are speaking about, most especially people that are in power now, people that are in offices, public offices. Look, they are not treating us well. Can you imagine our issue of ticket before went for my lesson? When I paid for the ticket, went for my lesson to Ministry of the police headquarters, National Police headquarters in Central. The particular girl who had to take this lesson and give it to me, the girl asking me to give her 500 before she can go collect my lesson and bring it to me. Can you imagine that? It's so ridiculous. Our country, our system is getting messed up every day. No, my brother, it's too much, man. Thank you for the topic.
Thank you. Let's take this next person here. 077771075 05551101075. Hello. Okay, I lost that caller there. Let's take this person here. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
You're live, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I like you, man. You got a topic very encouraging this evening. You see, as Liberians, I don't really know what happened to us. For me, I can wonder what kind of human being are we? The first thing I have said of us, the person when we hate you, even if we see something that will benefit us more, we don't like it. We don't want it to have it. When we like you, something that you do that will kill us, we want it. The referendum happening here. President, we are at the time to have a referendum because we now with that president, we say no to everything. Today we're fighting back to go to the same thing. You see what kind of human being we are. You see the kind of thing we are. I can be worried us. When we're little boys here, we used to see Guinea, community Guinea on television. Only one major street there with fantasies. But look at Conakry today, look at Moria today. Are we not seeing ourselves? Are we not? We need to do something, man. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Let's take this next person here. Hello.
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Privately, I'm Obidara, and I do join you from District 2 to be precise, Pueblan Christian Community.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
The topic so much today. Thank you people all for the topic on the discussion. You know, those people who will just go and take a saloon and put it to their car, those are the people who are, making the rules of this country. Is not always a bad. Because you find out most of the people that I like to say, there are some kind of someone that is working in the government, which of course maybe that their father or their mother that is in the government, but in using that power now, that just to influence on it, to rely on the other people that they will say, oh yes, so and so power is supposed to be stopped. So I'm very so much proud of the topic. That's all. That will stop those things. It's not very good to be friends. It's not very good.
Thank
Other
you.
people that are out there that are hearing it will say, yeah, you people, let's stop this. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take this person. Hello.
Hello.
You're live, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to really to extend my appreciation to you, my brother. What you have said, I sat here keenly and listened to you. If we have a journalist that cover this country of your type, and your main thing could kind of work out better for us.
Thank you, sir.
That's number one. Number two, so we ourselves are now suffering
We start crying out, we are suffering, but we are the people that are establishing our own suffering. Not be honest and clear with it. There are still quarters you find out people are there who are not doing anything for that quarter. They are not here as one time they wanted to put a suggestion on the floor to help those people. For time for election, because we see people bring out small money and share with them, or they got to provide food somewhere, they run there and who get time for police to go for them. People drop people from another area and carry and put in that particular area, it resulting into a catastrophe in this country, which is not supposed to. By and large, let us admit that
All right, sir.
as a common citizens, are at fault. Even though the majority of our leaders also doing the bad thing, but the common citizens, we need to come to ourselves. Thank you very much for watching. I think I've finished the whole lot.
Thank you. So that's all the time we have to take calls. As I said, this is the pulse. This is where the heartbeat of the nation is heard. We will not just be bringing on politicians. We'll bring on lawyers. We'll bring on educators. We'll bring on health practitioners. We'll bring on everybody to speak to the consciousness of our people. For this country to develop, for you and I to have a country of laws and a country that will see meaningful development, we must champion this ourselves. And it starts with educating and opening up our minds. The indiscipline in our country is too much. The disrespect is too much. Indisciplined people are disrespectful people. And where you have disrespect, indiscipline, the disrespect comes with disrespecting the laws. Don't care what citizens will say. I can buy $75,000 car. I can buy two. One just to run my errands. I sit in my office. I send a car all around on state resources, state fuel the car, whatever Liberians say. That is disrespect to the people. Disrespecting the very people who put you there, whose lives you should be empowering and changing. So we'll bring on everybody. Days like this, we'll sit and discuss the issues that affects us as people. And on other days, we'll bring on the politicians, we'll bring on the experts, and we'll have a conversation. For Liberia to be better, it takes you and I. And you and I have got our own rules. My rule is to sit on this platform and talk to you and bring you the information. Your role and your responsibility is to listen and put into action the good things. And together, we as a people can start to make an impact. And once the leaders realize that their people are enlightened, they're not blind anymore, they know what their rights are as inherent in Article 1 of our Constitution, they will start to do the right things. We can hold our leaders accountable as well. Have for yourselves a wonderful afternoon or evening. Have for yourselves a wonderful day. Those of you watching us all around the world, we'll be back on tomorrow. My name is Diamond Slanger. It's been a pleasure being here with you. Bye-bye.
From the top of Wologisi to the beaches of Maryland, we cover Liberia like nobody else does. This is Spoon 107.5.